Hi everyone, we are back again, and some of you may be aware, but not everyone. I've been working on a series where I'll be using fruits to make Indian style curries. The concept just happened. We have a lot of fruits around, tropical ones especially, and traditionally they have been used for making curries, but it seems the trend has gone down these days. We don't really see fruit curries more on menus, and just happened as a thought. I thought, why not start working and experimenting on recipes where you can have fruits being made into curries. So my first curry was a pineapple curry, and the video is already put up. It has been about a month, but I didn't really get time to experiment on the second one. So we have the second one. This is being worked on today, and I'm going to be making a red guava curry. It's quite simple. It's a very no frills recipe. It does not have any onion or garlic, so it can be converted for use in Jain recipes as well, which is a subsect of the Indian, the Jain community. But of course, let me run you through the recipe. But just a few pointers before you start. Make sure you have everything prepped out. Don't really go running when you're cooking it out, and don't go running for ingredients or chopping ingredients simultaneously. It makes life much more easier when you have everything cut, chopped, prepped, and ready when you want to cook. It's about a 15 to 20 minute recipe, once the prep is completely done. Secondly, always keep a towel handy with you. Don't go cleaning your hands with your dress or your apron or whatever you have on, or don't go running when you're cooking, and don't go hunting for a napkin henceforth then. So let me just run you through the recipe. The recipe is basically just guava fruit. It has some tomato puree, some yogurt. We do have a very special spice mix that we are making. It's a dry spice mix. So let me run you through the dry ingredients for the masala spice mix that we'll be adding at the end of it. We have about a tablespoon of dry coriander seeds, a teaspoon and a half of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds, a small stick of cinnamon, a couple of cardamom pods, a few, say about 2 or 3 of cloves. So I have a small vessel kept on a low heat. Never use high heat for dry roasted ingredients. I'm going to be adding the coriander seeds, the fennel seeds, the cumin, and the cardamom, clove, and cinnamon. And we'll be dry roasting them for about 5 minutes on low heat. Keep on stirring them, keep on mixing them, because if they get stuck at the base, you'll get a burnt odor, and they may actually overburn. So just keep on mixing them around. So after about 5 minutes, you will have some aromas coming out of the spices. You will be able to smell them. Just switch off the stove and let them all cool down. Because if you grind them when they're hot, they won't really grind well. You just need to let all of it cool down, and then we'll grind them in the mortar and pestle. So our dried spice, the roasted spices have cooled down, and I've put them in the stone mortar and pestle that I have at home. I prefer using it for all my grinding, spice grinding purposes, because like I said, there's nothing like freshly grounded spices, and the flavors turn out beautifully. Plus, this does not give me a really fine powder. It gives you a coarse sort of powder, which adds a beautiful texture to the curry as well. So you see, this is the coarse kind of powder that we have. You can discard the peel of the vanilla, the cardamom pod. Sorry, why did I even go to vanilla? So this is it. This is our dry spice powder, which we'll be using at the end of the curry. Let me run you through the other ingredients that we need for the recipe. We need a couple of tablespoons of oil, couple of dried red chilies. You need some whisked yogurt, say about half a cup of it. It has to be very well whisked, otherwise you'll have granules left in the curry. You need about 2 tomatoes which are pureed out. So they need to be in the form of a fine puree. You can add a little water if you feel that it's too thick. Some dried fenugreek leaves. We call it kasuri methi in India. and these add a beautiful flavor at the end of curries. Couple of say about 3 to 4 tablespoons of chopped coriander leaves. You need a couple of bay leaves just to get the curry started off in the first part. Salt to taste again. Yes, of course, we need the guavas. So I have about 2 red guavas which are chopped in about 1-inch pieces. Just for those unaware, this is a red guava. Yeah, we get the white ones usually. The white ones are also fine, but I found red ones and they were quite attractive, so I just got them yesterday. In terms of spices, you need red chili powder. We have a mix here which is of dry coriander seed and roasted cumin seed powder, but you can use them separately as well. We just have the mixture over here with me. Turmeric powder. So we'll get started for the curry. I have placed a clay pot that I have for making the curry into. You can use a glass vessel or any other pan that you have, but somehow I find that the clay pot, it brings out a beautiful flavor, as well as the curry stays warm and hot for quite a long time, even post after it's cooked. So this is my personal favorite. So I use these kind of clay pots for all my cooking needs. I mean, so first things first, we add a couple of tablespoons of oil in the pot. Add in our bay leaves. And let it warm up for a minute or so. Let the flavor of the bay leaf get infused in the oil. Then we add in our dried red chilies. You can actually cut them in halves as well. See, the oil is warming up and all the flavor from the spices will get absorbed into the oil. Next, we add in our tomato puree. Simultaneously, add a bit of turmeric powder and red chili powder just to get the spices mixing out well. So while the tomatoes are being heated up, the yogurt that we had, I'm adding about a half teaspoon of turmeric powder in there, about a teaspoon of red chili powder, and about a teaspoon of coriander cumin seed powder that we had, and give it a quick mix. And add it all in this curry over here. Now, and add a little water to the residual, to the leftover yogurt that you had, and put it all in there. Next, we add in the salt. See, about half a teaspoon, but you can add according to your taste. Check before you add any more. It's always a better idea to add a little less and then keep on adding more if you need it. Next, we add in our guavas. And let it all come together. Now let this simmer for about 5 minutes, and then we'll add the dried spices. So it's been about 5 to 7 minutes in here. You can see that the guavas are a bit cooked. You really don't want to overcook them, else they'll go mushy and that won't really give a nice texture. So once this is done, we start by adding our dried powdered spices. You remember we had ground them freshly. So say about a teaspoon and a half of these dried spices in here, and give it a good stir. Always make it a point to add the freshly ground dry spices at the end, because if you add them earlier, some of the flavors may get lost. Finally, we have some dried fenugreek leaves that we spoke of. Give it a rough crush and add it in there. Believe me, these give a beautiful flavor to any Indian curry, and these again have to be put right at the end. You just crush them coarsely with your hand and you put them in there. Now, some of you may like adding a little bit of sugar. If you don't like, that's perfectly fine. Just add a little bit of sugar at the end of the cooking process. Give it a good stir. Now, from the coriander that we had, I prefer adding half of it when it's still cooking and the other half just as a garnish, because when it's still cooking, the flavors get merged in the curry. So there, that's our curry done. You can switch it off and serve it as you like with either Indian breads or even steamed rice. It tastes beautifully on there. Now since that's done, I'm going to put the rest of the coriander on top, and you can just leave this covered for about 10-15 minutes, and since it's a clay pot, it won't even get cold. That's the beauty of it.